Hi guys, I'm Shmee, and today, as you might have seen from my previous video, I'm out exploring the countryside in my Mini, giving it a run, stretching its legs, even though it's rather wintry, cold and damp. But I have stopped to take a little visit to Top Cats Racing, who have a rather awesome logo there on the side of their race truck. They're basically a TVR specialist and race team, but I'm actually here today, well, we're going to have a look inside, but firstly, to check out this car behind me, a 2006 4.3 litre Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Now you might be wondering why, out of all the supercars that I show you, I have picked a 10-year-old Aston. Well, very specifically, this car has something rather special under the hood. It's got a GMR Supercharger and it's running 580 brake horsepower. So we're going to take a look around it now, then go for a little drive before we come back and take a look inside. But this starts out, well, 10 years ago, as the original version of this shape of the V8 Vantage. Technically, this is what has now become my Vantage GT8. This is where it began, the 4.3 litre naturally aspirated V8 engine, 380 horsepower standard. In 2009, they updated it to a 4.7 litre engine, but you can actually pick up these early examples for £30,000, £40,000 now. So you get a lot of car for your money in terms of how it looks, what it represents, and the fact that it's an Aston Martin. But some might say that 380 is not enough. £302 for the torque to go with that, and that's where GMR come in and install the Supercharger. And I should actually show you now. So let me come in and pop this open so we can head round to the engine bay to take a look. It's kind of interesting for me seeing where it all began. Obviously, I've shown you a lot of the GT8 recently, what that looks like now. But in here, if I pop this open, and this is one day of road grime, it is filthy around here at the moment, you can see what is going on. So 200 horsepower increase to 580 with the Supercharger installed here. The car also obviously has the water injection system to keep it all running cool. And I'm told when you've just got out of it, you can actually literally put your hand on it and it's not going to be hot at all. Torque is raised from 302 pound-foot up to 445. That means where you previously got 302 at 5,000 RPM, you now have that in here from 2,000. So there's a whole lot more power going on, a lot more that's available, and this car's been to the Nürburgring, done all sorts of testing. In fact, it has over 100,000 miles on the clock, as I can probably come around and show you. I think that lights up when we open up the door, pop the key in. I think this is quite cool from a sort of testing point of view. There we go. Well, power, beauty, soul first. Doesn't do that on the new one. 100,030 miles, quite literally. So it's done a lot of testing, and it's all still running on the original bits and pieces, but the car's been to the Nürburgring, so it's got a suspension setup ready for that. It's running on winter tyres as well. But it's quite an impressive piece of kit. Obviously, brakes upgraded for the additional power that it has. And the car has a twin plate clutch installed. It was changed about 10,000 miles ago after the previous one that had been on for about 60,000. So let's jump in, take it for a little drive and experience what a Supercharger is like on a V8 Vantage. Please excuse me for how I'm probably shivering away and looking very, very cold, but let's fire this into life. That sounds very different to the 4.7. Very, very different actually. Now let's just put on the speed, there we go. Handbrake off, this is all quite familiar, feel quite comfortable already. Now I've been told with this clutch, you just need to let the clutch pedal out. Yeah, you don't need to give it any throttle at all. Pull away gently. So there's a lot of torque in here, very low in the rev range. Basically it should be able to pull away quite comfortably in any gear at just about any speed. So, first, you expect that. There's a little change in the noise that I can hear. Just pootling out of here, it's very, very well together. For a car that's done 100,000 miles, just to put that into perspective, that is a lot. Not that many such cars. Well, how many V8 Vantages have done 100,000? I doubt it can be very many. Holds together really nicely. I like that sound. I like It's a little bit raspier in the 4.3 than the 4.7. Obviously the GT8 is a different league of noise. The titanium exhaust system can't really be beaten by anything. But we're on a private industrial estate, and I'm just going to go to a road that I can experiment a little bit. The engine's been running, of course, before I've been out filming, so it's got a little bit of temperature to it. But okay, so the basics are all good. Obviously, it's very familiar to me. Whoa! Okay then. Started to feel that. Started to feel that a lot, the supercharger there. I think it's a test. Let me put it in third gear and just pull away in third gear and see what happens. Okay, that had quite a lot of torque immediately. Drop it down to second just to experience the supercharger. This is quick for a Vantage. Well, I mean, it's 100 and something horsepower up on the GT8. This is really quick for a Vantage. So it's 17,500 for this full setup, for everything that's involved in the supercharger, in the water injection, cooling, obviously keeping it all running substantially cooler. And actually it's 20% more efficient than a standard car is as well. Let's just head back down the road. Literally just a quick little drive. Okay. Foot down aggressively. Wow. This is really quite quick. I'm a little bit like speechless because obviously it feels quite like mine. Now supercharging a GT8 would be a little bit crazy, but one of these, you can buy a car for in the 30s, do this, and you've got a 50 grand car with 600 horsepower. And that's off the 4.3. If you had a 4.7, you can actually get up to 609 brake horsepower, and obviously a little bit more torque with that as well. Then you've got something even more ballistic. I think the Vantage never quite had enough power, and this seems like a pretty good way to me to go about it. Obviously, just as a rewind, you might remember at Autosport, I met the GMR guys there and very, very quickly featured the Supercharged Vantage. That's what we're driving now. But it seems pretty good to me. Nice to know this is out there, and that it's survived 100,000 miles driving. That's an awful lot, basically, isn't it? 100,000 miles in an Aston on the original engine. It's really torquey. You feel a sort of, obviously, push back into the seat. If I slow down a bit and just for fun put it into like 5th gear, so I'm at, well, let's go down to 20 miles an hour in 5th gear. Come on, 22, 21, 20 miles an hour coming. No, there we go, 20 miles an hour in 5th gear. Put down, oh, but it is pulling away. It has managed to make it happen. Where normally you would just have a whole load of juddering and fail and you'd go nowhere. Wow. Very cool. Okay, let's go park this back up. You can probably tell it's right at the end of the day here. The light is dropping on me fast. So what I've got here actually ties in quite nicely, given that I have just been driving an Aston Martin. So the folks at Eaglemoss produce this magazine that comes with little model cars, and as you know, I collect an awful lot of these, and they've just fired this one in my direction. This is themed obviously on James Bond, and here we've got the Thunderball Aston Martin DB5. I'm going to pop a link down below to them. Thanks to them for sending this over to me. As you know, I have a little collection. I've actually got an awful lot of model cars. Well, an awful lot is relative, because some of you out there have tons of them, I'm sure. But I have a few, and my little collection is growing as I seem to travel and accrue them from around the world. But coming back over this way, just to reflect, I guess, a little bit on the car on my very short drive here, keeping it brief because of the light and the conditions and not going crazy, but getting to put my foot down slightly on the little stretch there. It's an awful lot of fun how much power you can feel coming through there. I'm trying to reflect back, because obviously I haven't driven a 4.3 litre, and nor have I yet pushed my GT8, but that has so much more power in what felt like quite a nice delivery. It's not like you wait and then everything, it comes all the way through in a way. Be interesting to drive it a little bit more, but it's quite a fun kind of concept as a way of bringing a slightly older car a little bit more sort of up to scratch and boosting it to the power levels you might want as the competition got ahead, because Aston always kept their naturally aspirated engines. Until recently they didn't go turbocharged, supercharged or anything. The DB11 has gone twin turbo, and the new Vantage will presumably go twin turbo to some extent when that launches in future. But this car was always left a little bit behind, as we know. You guys have all been telling me about my GT8. You've all been making sure I know that it's quite a lot of money for a car that doesn't necessarily have the power that it should. And that is a way that you can quite efficiently, I guess, through GMR, upgrade your car to something that's a little bit more market competitive with the likes of Porsche, Ferrari, McLaren, and so on and so forth. And I guess as tried and tested and proven in this example, with 100,000 miles on the clock, it quite clearly works, and it seems to work pretty well. The thing I'm not that used to and don't really know how it works is that because of the water injection system that's part of the installation, that's all done either here at Top Cats or by GMR, every time you fill up with fuel you also have to fill up with water to keep it cool. But that's what means obviously that it runs very efficiently. And you can get all of that performance you can take to the track. Now, obviously, if you're going to drive it hard with that much extra power, brakes need upgrading. Clutch should really be upgraded as well. This one's obviously, well, running on the winter tyres, but also on bigger wheels. But yes, I think I should wrap up out here right now because I am really, really, really cold. Let's go inside and take a look around. And in here then we have a line of TVRs, all sorts in for service or different things, different bits and bobs. Some engine swaps and conversions, some interesting things being done here. An old Vantage there as well, that's quite topical given what we've just been filming with. And then some of the race cars as well, so the Mosler here. And is that a Gallardo tucked in at the back? I'm also going to draw attention to the Mini that is up there. Can't see too much of that up on the ramps. Maybe if I climb up we can, and then some cars just being collected, as well as the ramps and the workshop. That looks rather interesting as well. So some very bespoke kind of custom modification stuff. I actually saw a car earlier outside that was a little bit bonkers. It was a Sagaris with 750 horsepower and about 1,000 kilos of weight. So let me know if you'd like to see more of that. Maybe we'll be back and come and film a video. Okay, look at that. That's cool. I like that a lot. That's a nice view, isn't it? The light is quickly going and the day coming to an end, but I think that drive was most interesting in the sense of how factory-like that feels, how linear the power is, and how it just comes together and doesn't feel like you've got any surprises going on. It's completely kind of nicely integrated. I don't really know how to explain it because I'm not completely up on the technicalities of it, but from a driving experience point of view, it's certainly pretty good. Now I want to go back home and drive my GT8. Even though it will feel pretty slow after that one. So thanks to GMR for letting me drive the car, to Top Cats Racing, of course, for the quick visit inside. I'm sorry I haven't had time to film too much, because I've got to be jumping back into the Mini to head back into London. So thanks, as always, for watching, guys, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers!